surprised at how successful Thomas the Tank Engine, the movie, has been?
Well, if I said no, I think it would be true, because I don't think I'd have ever gone into this if I'd thought that there was too much of a risk. I mean, it was a gut instinct. I think what perhaps not surprises me, but really you could say pleases me, is the extent to which Thomas appeals to children everywhere in the world.
Thomas is a tank engine who lives at a big station on the island of Sodor.
What first attracted me to the stories were and still are the characters, the adventures, the situations they get into. And this is what made me want to bring them to life on the screen, with all the things that a multi-dimensional world can do, with music and sound effects. And I think that the fact that the characters are largely steam trains, although not all of them, has an appeal, because I think the sound of a train whistle has a universal appeal.
Born in 1943, Britt Allcroft, producer, writer, director, and also a voice actress, will make a name for herself by creating programs for the BBC and ITV throughout the 70s and 80s. In 1979, however, she would meet with the Reverend W. Awdry himself, Arthur of the Railway series, while producing a documentary about trains. While Britt herself had never grew up with the books, she had quickly became intrigued by the illustrations and the characters of the engines themselves. In the following year of 1980, she secured the rights, founded her own company, and within the next 4 years, with the partnership of the late David Mitton, Thomas the Tank Engine and Friends will make its debut on the TV airwaves, October 9th, 1984. The success following the franchise afterwards will be quite surprising.
Those works. I wonder if you could tell us, Ringo, the story behind how you actually got involved with it.
How I got involved, I was the lady who put it together, Britt Allcroft, came to the house one day and she said she had this idea for me to narrate these books. Sorry. And just trying to liven myself up, folks. And I'd never read the books as a child. I was probably one of the few children who was deprived of them. And I'm more of a Beano man. And I read the books and I thought they were fabulous. You know, I thought they were really good books. And also the drawings in the book, the style of them I loved. And she convinced me that, you know, they were going to be animated in that style. You know, they weren't going to make them cheap looking. So I thought it'd be a nice thing for me to do, really.
Mm-hmm. And are you pleased with the end product?
I'm real pleased with the end product.
Wilbur Awdry, what do you make of him? Do you think he's done a good job?
Well, I think Ringo's done an excellent job.
Well, your words in my mouth, we could go anywhere.
To say that the show was a home run would be an understatement. It was the prime example of an overnight success. Kids and adults were captivated by the realism and surreal beauty of the island of Sodor, the lessons and messages it offered, and characters the audience saw themselves in. Everyone around the world wanted a piece of the Thomas pie. In 1989, both Britt and producer Rick Sigalo would create the live-action children's series Shining Time Station, which introduced the Little Blue Engine and his friends to North America, with the help of Mr. Conductor, who would tell the stories of Sodor via the blow of his whistle.
You mean you don't know the story about Thomas, Percy, and Nicole? All right. I'll tell you about it. It was a beautiful morning on the island of Sodor. Thomas the Tank Engine's blue paint sparkled in the sunshine as he puffed happily along his branch line with Annie and Clarabelle.
And from there, Thomas's fame would only grow bigger and bigger, being redubbed in 51 different languages and shown in countless countries worldwide.
¿Por qué eres rojo?, le preguntó. Porque soy una locomotora.
By 1996, after 4 successful seasons of the TV series, what was next for Thomas? The big screen, of course.
This summer, take a magical trip to a world unlike any other. An enchanting place where adventure is only a whistle away. Thomas and the Magic Railroad, rolling into theatres everywhere, July 2000.
I wanted to create a film specifically for children roughly between the ages of 3 and 7, and that would work for them anywhere in the world, because I think what the appeal is universal. So that's what I wanted the story to be. At the same time, I was doing a sort of balancing act, trying to protect the fact that Thomas is indigenous. That's what children here embrace Thomas as their own. They do in Japan, they do in the UK. And that has to be protected as well. It's really important.
Released in July 26 of the year 2000, Thomas and the Magic Railroad became the first ever full-length Thomas and Friends movie that was shown in theaters, starring the likes of Peter Fonda, then storyteller of the 5th and 6th seasons, Alec Baldwin, and Mara Wilson. While the movie may have not been the stellar example of a well-written story with various flaws that was the cause of studio interference, and test audiences not exactly being the kindest to Brent's original vision, resulting in a box office bomb and poor reception, Brent was never sour about it, and was happy to know that the film is still loved by Thomas fans to this day, and even back then.
It was heartening for me to see how much the film is loved 20 years on. But where there was negative criticism, I was expecting it, because I knew why they felt like that. And if the scenes had been left in, they wouldn't have felt like that.
Despite this, Brent had no choice but to step down as chairman from her own company. And by the time season 6 of Thomas came around, she would only serve as the executive producer. Then in the following year, in 2003, she would bid farewell to what she created from day one, as Hit Entertainment would acquire Ghislaine, and from there stray away from what made Thomas work. From dumbing down the characters, poor writing, and drawing more attention towards selling merchandise as opposed to storytelling, the franchise would experience a downward spiral that has never really quite recovered from. Despite the ups and downs the franchise has gone through, there is no denying that what was created in the past is still going strong to this day. There is a fine line between timeless and something that's outdated. Outdated is when you never want to look back, while timeless never loses what made it so unique and special. While unfortunately the next gen audience of this day and age will have to grow up watching with what I would classify as brain rot, at the very least the true image of Thomas will never ever truly die out, thanks to a very passionate fan base of which I am extremely proud to be a part of. Have been a fan ever since I was born, and I will not be leaving it anytime soon. I feel like I speak for everyone when I say that Thomas & Friends isn't just a popular TV show, it's a cultural and global phenomenon. Britt may be gone from this world, but what she's made is forever immortal, and her memory will never leave us, no matter what. So, on behalf of the entire Thomas fandom and community, I just wanted to say thank you, Britt, for making my childhood feel as magical as it can be. Rest easy, old friend. Thank you for everything.